You are listening to an episode of The Faithful Sinners.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining me today on Daily Sinspiration. My name is Timothy Baker, and today I'd like to talk to you about raising righteous children. You know, it's a joyful parent who has raised a child that is godly and wise. In fact, Proverbs 23:24 says, "The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice, and he who begets a wise child will delight in him." Now, it's not always easy raising a child that maintains those values of godliness or wisdom, but there are two ways that we as parents can help them be more like Jesus and develop wisdom to navigate the challenges of life. The first would be to find a Christ-centered community. Raising children gets challenging, but you don't have to do it alone. But more importantly, remember what we surround ourselves with, those that we surround ourselves with, those things that we're feeding into our mind and into our lives are what we're actually going to ultimately put out. So if we're wanting to raise children with a certain mindset or a certain approach to life, we need to surround them with that environment. So strongly encourage being a part of your local church community. Engage in different activities, summer camps, a lot of different ways that you can involve your children and yourself in those Christ-centered communities. The other way, second way, would be to teach your children how to ask for help. Now, you don't want them to have to ask for help for every single little thing, obviously. You want to make sure that they can be self-sufficient to a degree, but we know that children like to be independent, but at the same time, we need to help them understand that God can provide them the wisdom we need when we turn to Him. So maybe it's not necessarily getting step-by-step instructions, but reflecting internally to understand how is the Holy Spirit guiding us and? Giving us some instruction in the ways that we need to live our lives. So I would encourage you as parents, I do this myself, is model what it looks like to seek God. Now, I'm not perfect, and by no means have I always lived this way. I have struggled often throughout my life, trying to find my path, and I have to thank God that I finally recognized where I was falling short and how He can help me raise the bar in my own life to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish in helping to build His kingdom. So the most impressive thing that I could ever do is not what I do, but who I raise. That is ultimately what I'm looking at in the long run, is what kind of children have I helped to bring into this world for the future generations. And I would encourage you to identify one thing that you can do to point your children towards Jesus this week. I try to engage my children in Sunday school courses or different studies. Challenged a little bit because I'm as you may know, I'm a divorced father, and with that, don't see the same desires for church attendance on my ex's side. But when they are with me, I try to involve Christ in as much as I can with all the things that we do. When we aren't able to go to Sunday school or different things, maybe we do some volunteer work. We've gone and fed the homeless. I am actually signed up for some local community projects coming up. We will also be participating once a month in helping our local food bank. I think it's not only beneficial for me, but also very beneficial for the kids to see all aspects of life, to understand that the way we live is not how everybody also lives. There are people that are doing way better than we are, and there are also people that are doing much, much worse and having more challenges. So for them to have that exposure and understanding is, I think, critical in raising a child that has a internal wisdom around who they are, whose they are, and why they are here on this planet to help others through their life and their struggles as well. What I will leave us with as a final thought is that we bring joy to those around us when we live lives that value integrity and honor God. And I pray every day that I'm instilling that in my own children. Thank you for watching, and please make sure you share so we can all sin better together.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Faithful Sinners. Make sure to follow us and like us on your favorite podcast or social media site, and also check us out at thefaithfulsinners.com.